Lads, laddies, lovers, it's me, Waddles, and welcome back to the Minecraft Guide. In this episode, we'll be running through a little bit of science in hopes of figuring out some sort of double cave spawner spider setup. By the end of the episode, I wish I could say it'll all work, but all I can say is hopefully. To ensure and certify me good luck as we begin to move into this next crucial phase of Operation Hollow, go ahead and tap that like button right down below. Let's get underground. But before we do that, a little bit of a throwback. In the last episode, if you missed it, how dare you? You need to go back and check it out. Because in the last episode, we found a mine shaft, found some pretty cool stuff, and more importantly, found a double cave spider spawner. Well, I suppose the more accurate way to say it is a potential double cave spider spawner. So spawner number A is sitting right over there. If I walk right up the staircase right here, wow, right here up the staircase is spawner number C. In between episodes here, I was doing a little bit of accounting, you could say, taking a look at the numbers and running them. I think I have found out that definitely for sure both of these spawners could potentially be active at the exact same moment. Like, check this out. As I stand on this block right here, we can tell that that spawner is active because of the particles. And then if I quickly move over and kind of like jump up, I can see that that spawner is active as well. I guarantee that this spawner is active when I move on this block right here. I just can't really see it, so it's... well, actually, correction. I think you can kind of see it. I think that dust is the spawner. Now, last, in part one of the experiment, I suppose the part of the experiment where you, like, take the chemicals and pour them into the bottle and go, whoa, yeah, they're definitely separating for sure. Yeah, with that part of the science experiment, this check done. Now, aside from the math, I didn't actually do too much, like, preparation work for our experiment here today. Instead, I figured the most interesting angle to go at this project from would be, like, we go at this project, take it out up close and personal, and most importantly, together. Yeah. Basically, so now that we know these spawners can be active at the same exact time and could potentially work together in some sort of double spawner setup, we need to figure out how we want to actually pull off and execute this double spawner setup. Like, where do I want to stand to be able to activate these spider spawners? This is one of the most important things that you figure out when working on your double spawner setup. Now, where do I want to stand? I almost feel like what I could do with this spawner is maybe move the spiders down this way towards me, and then maybe with the other spawner that's a little bit higher up, I might be able to drop them down and kind of like move them over to like, almost like off to the side, something like that. So I could stand over here and take the spiders out, then I could turn around and clear them out of this one. Then hopefully by the time I'm done clearing them out of that one, I can turn around and do it all again, take them out one more time. Unfortunately, or I suppose fortunately, we do have a double spawner, and I think we'll be able to have them active at the same time, but they're not really close enough to funnel them all into one slot, where I like take all the spiders out together. Or at least, not right now. We might be able to cook something up. In Minecraft, every single spawner not only has an activation range, but it has a spawning and detection radius. The activation range for a cave spider spawner, that's going to be 16 blocks. As soon as I step myself more than 16 blocks away from this spawner, it deactivates and shuts off, meaning it won't spawn any more spiders. We could use that mechanic as an on-off switch for our farm. We'll keep it in mind. Now, the spawning box, the detection radius, if you will, for this spawner, it's going to be a little bit different than the zombie spawner that we talked about a little bit earlier on in this series. This time, for this spawner, like vertically, I think would be the word. Vertically out, we're going to go 4 blocks away from the spawner. Then we could theoretically have the walls of our spawning chamber. That's going to put our back wall all the way over here, and our side walls out 4 blocks like that. Now, the up and down radius, that range, that's a little bit smaller. That's where we can compact. We're only looking at 1 block above the spawner, and actually 1 block below the spawner. That's going to mean if we took our spiders and say, theoretically, maybe dropped them 2 blocks, just like that, then all of a sudden, we're more than far enough away from this spawner. As always, when working on any kind of spawner farm, slab up on top of it, and slab right below it as well. Alright, well, let me be honest with you. The slab down below is definitely not necessary. The spider shouldn't be clinging to the bottom of your spawner, but the slab up above it, definitely necessary. If we had a spider spawn and then idle on top of the spawner, it'll basically shut off the machine. And so, with our dimensions cracked out and figured out, it's time we begin to do a little bit of digging. The next major step in figuring out our double spawner setup officially today is going to be prepping the spawning area around both spawners. At this point of the operation today, it's time for good old trusty Arthur and definitely my dear friend Markiplier as well. Let's get to digging, lads. Believe it or not, I've done it. You might have been doubting yourself for quite a few seconds there. Will he be able to dig the room out? Will he not be able to do it? But yes, I've done it. And I've got a little hack for you. When setting up any kind of cave, spawner, room, technically speaking, you only need to clear out 1 block above your spawner. But because of how things generate, mineshaft, spawner sitting on the floor, ceiling 2 blocks above, it's smarter to clear your ceiling out 2 blocks above it. After all, spiders have this tendency to climb the wall. And let's say these torches are a spider and they climb all the way up to that top corner. Well, that top corner is technically outside of the detection box for the spawner. That means if I have a couple spiders lingering around in the top corner of the room, just, being spiders, being bros, whatever they do, well, it shouldn't really stop the rates of my spawner. It shouldn't slow it down. So now the question, the big question. So what I was thinking with this spawner is clearly, we can see it's active right now. If I stand right here, I have a good feeling that the spawner over there is probably going to be active as well. What might be the smartest move for this spawner setup is basically try and keep these ones on relatively this exact level. And then for this one, because it's so much higher up, I could probably just have this spawner be loaded in. I could have this spawner room set up, but instead of the floor being right here, I could say take the floor maybe like 3 more blocks down. That way, if I lower the floor inside of this room, which doesn't affect anything at all, the spiders will spawn and drop straight clean down, however many blocks I need them to drop down, to be a little bit more even with those spiders that are going to come from that spawner over there. In fact, actually, looking at it now, it might be a little bit more than, say, like 3 blocks. I might want to drop them like 4 or 5 so I can get them, like I said, a whole lot closer to these spiders right here. Then, what I was almost thinking with these spiders is I could maybe use water currents to move them over to this side. Create some kind of spider tunnel or something and move them over that way. Then I might be able to combine this all into one spot for all the spiders in the middle. The one thing with these spider setups, all of the spider farms, is ideally you really don't want to try and move the spiders too much. The more you're moving the spiders around with the water currents, the more likely it is that they're going to find a wall, latch onto it, and climb up the wall. Decisions. Alright, so at this point in our project today, with this room, the floor way lower down, I think what might be a little bit smart to do here is start to clear out a little bit of space. I'm not too sure exactly where I'm going to have my spider farming operation really take place, but I know for sure it's going to be vaguely in this area. If I have to come back in and fill blocks in, it gets whatever, it's fine. Maybe by opening up some of these walls and exposing some of the sweet treasures that are way up there, I'm going to come back for those later. But maybe by opening up some of the walls, I can start to look around at the spawner and really get a good idea as to where it's actually loaded in. So it seems like on this block, or this line right here, it's loaded in. If I back up, it's still loaded in. I'm willing to bet that this spawner, even if I move all the way over here, is probably still going to be active and trying to spawn spiders. This spawner, on the other hand, is the spawner that we're going to have to keep in mind a little bit more because it's way farther away. So now next up, before I can do anything with water, I'm going to need to go out into the caves and fight for the water myself. I need to find some more. I can hear glow squids all over the place, but it's just the blue shiny water. I see it nowhere all over the place. Alright, so looking around, we got redstone, we got more of the mine shaft. Definitely haven't seen that before. I think if I go back this way, this is the world's most awkward, weird wall. Is this an aquifer? Unfortunately not. I hear you again. Where are you at? I mean, looking at this wall right here, this is oddly, mysteriously flat, you could say. What about inside of this thing? It's the wrong kind of blue. It's blue for sure, but definitely the wrong thing. Ooh, going down into the depths, it gets dangerous. It's dark. It actually is dark. Oh, it's dark. Oh, it's terrifying. All right, well, that's great to know about. Great to know about. I don't think I should be down here looking for water. Sounds like a bad idea, right? Ha ha. One quick trip partially back up to the surface later and water. We've got it. Check good. Now over here, this water current, this is the one that I'm most concerned about. You see, we could use water in a couple different ways to move the spiders around. One of my favorite ways is how we can put water at the back and funnel them all to the middle, nice and easily like that. But is this gonna be too close to the spawner? I mean, cave spiders are pretty small after all. I think it might be fine. We might be able to break out these blocks right here, lower the floor a little bit more. They won't ever get stuck. So now check this out. With the floor lowered in that pattern that I just showed you, when we place the water down in the back corner, we break out the block that it ends up flowing on. If I put the water source back in this corner over here, we have water that flows all the way dead center like that. If I was a spider that spawned back here, I would be pushed immediately right over to the middle. And that'd be kind of perfect for our spawner setup. My next question is going to be this spawner over here though. If I were to copy that same setup, I could drop them down. I could probably lower the floor, just keep digging it down even more, and have basically two separate chambers in this room. I think combining them would be absolutely stunningly gorgeous, but that idea worries me. You see, let's think about this. I could move all the spiders to the middle of this room, then I could use water currents to move them over like this way and then take them out somewhere over here, and same thing with these ones, but at that point, I have to wait for the spiders to spawn, drop, and move all the way over. Do I really want that? Or would I rather just have two separate spots? I think I know the answer. We'll start this next phase by getting the coordinates of the floor, which is gonna be 4. After that, we'll swing up over into this room and find that the floor is currently 10, which means I need to lower this floor 6 more blocks, straight down. Ayo, and by the way, your eyes might be deceiving you today. I don't know what, like how it's translating into the episode or anything like that, but I am indeed decorating up the walls of these chambers. Because I am indeed, definitely, maybe not ever going to see into these chambers. No windows today, laddies. No siree. Whoa, I don't know how I missed that before. I was like tunneling around. I guess it blends in perfectly with like the granite right there. But yes, this raw ore vein. Oh, it's so beautiful. I wish I had the time to excavate that today. Actually, you know, low-key, maybe high-key, I am kind of excavating the ore vein though. Look at that, almost a stack of raw copper blocks already. This thing is insane. Okay, wow, so look, I don't know if you guys ever, like, really care about the materials that I get while, like, doing any of these projects, digging everything out, but look at this. I seem to have struck the world's largest supply, one-stop shop for andesite. I got stacks and stacks of this stuff. Now, in my time digging, I've done not one, but 2 things. So, thing number 1, I lowered the floor inside of this room. This is eventually going to turn into the spawning farming room by the end of the episode. Now we're looking at a room that is like, in there at least, the floor is 1 block higher than I think it's gonna need to be. We'll fix that later though, because boom, over here, check this out. We got the big room. Just like we did for the last room, we're gonna take a water source and drop it in the back corner. We're gonna watch it flow all the way to the front, then using the water as kind of like markers, we'll start to dig down. After that, we'll take this water source away, go over to the other side of the room, do the exact same thing. Until we can't. Anyways, I don't need it. I'm smart enough to figure it out on my own. We could go ahead and copy it from the other side until they eventually meet in the middle right there. Then all of this floor needs to lower down a little bit more. Now, the amazing thing about this cave spider farm that I'm showing you how to build today, double or not, is really inside of this thing, you only are going to need 2 water sources total. We're going to need one at this back corner to move the spiders forward. And then the other water source that we're going to need, it's going to need to go at this back corner to continue to move all the spiders forward. Now over here in the front of the chamber, the side that we want to move our spiders all the way over to, what we're going to want to do is find the center, dig that block out, and then 2 blocks out on either side of the center. After that, we're going to go ahead and open it up a little bit more. We'll make it like 3 blocks tall. After that, we're going to go ahead and continue the digging process, and check this out. Look how the water just keeps flowing forward. That's literally perfect for what we need today. We go ahead and dig it maybe 1 more thing forward, so we're popping 3 blocks out, and we'll go ahead and leave it 3 or 2 blocks tall. That should be probably more than good enough. At this point, all of the water should flow almost all the way to the center, but it kind of stops. And you know, now that I look about it, this really, really tall old doorway that was the staircase, I could probably fill this in, clean it up a little bit. Swinging over to our other spider farm, let's go ahead and catch this beauty up. We have the middle block right there, we dig that out, that and that. Then we're gonna go ahead and actually make this one just 2 blocks tall this time. I'll show you why in a minute. Then we're gonna go ahead and continue digging this thing out all the way until the water doesn't flow in that middle spot anymore. So something like that. From the inside of this spider farm or the outside, depending on how you look at it, you can go ahead and start filling in your walls so you don't have like big open holes anywhere. And by the way, if this thing was open in the mine shaft like it was over there, make sure you fully block it up. Now next up, what I want to do here is moving into our spider farming room. We're going to go ahead and start clearing out the room a little bit more. The floor of this room is going to need to be even with the floor of the spider farm room. Right now, I went ahead and removed this wall, but imagine there's a wall right there. The floor is even with that floor right there. That part is going to be very, very important for spider farming a little bit later on. Now, for this room, since I'm going to have like a spider farm over there and a spider farm over there, it's going to need to be a little bit sizable. I also want to make sure this room looks good. I think to maybe keep it sizable, keep it good looking, you know, everything like that, we're going to go ahead and have like a window to the spider farm right there, or a window right there. Maybe we'll do like a flat wall, or heck, even the exit right there, all the way back up to the surface. I'm not sure yet. Design-wise, I'm not too sure what we're going to do with this room. We'll figure it out in a minute here, but I do think that I definitely want to have tall ceilings. That could be really, really nice. And not all these messy blocks all over. For sure, no. You know what, that's it. I got it. What I need to do is take the dimensions of this wall from like this spot, maybe all the way down to this spot right there. And that's going to be the length of one wall. Then I'll make this room a perfect square. So what is this? 11 blocks long. So that's going to be 5. I'll go 6 more down this way and then make it a big room. Oh, that's perfect. You know what? I kind of hate to do this, but I started digging this whole room out, and then I'm looking at this, and I'm like, that's going to be a really big room, like 11 by 11. I don't need that much space inside of this room. What if instead it's just like a little bit more of a hallway? With like, I got a space right here, and I got a space right here, and then I could have the exit door on that wall instead, just going right up to the surface. Like, exit entrance right over there, perfectly spaced out, wall right there. And all of this is just nothing instead. I think that's smart. Teleporting back up to the surface, you're perfect for this operation. Oh, and you give me the exact amount that I need too. To finish up the rest of this farm today, we might want to have some carpet, totally optional. To finish up this farm for the future, we need to dig all the way down to the bottom of the world. Allegedly speaking, this should be one of the spots that I need. 10,055, 1392, allegedly speaking, straight down from this spot right here, I think is the entrance. Then I'm gonna have to go all the way back up to the top and somehow dig it down and do a bubble column up and down, and oof, that's gonna be a lot of work, but allegedly right here, all the way down, about 100 more blocks. It should be the room. Let's do this. Oh, and there it is, and there it is. 100 block dropper. Check done, created inside of the world. Oh, and wait, what's that? A beautiful room, or almost a beautiful room. Yeah, check it. I got a dark ceiling. We're gonna do a cool build trick on the top in a minute. On the bottom, I was thinking maybe like spruce planks lining the thing, or logs, excuse me, and then red in the middle, because it's like, you know, like a spider thing. Now, I did a little bit of math, some investigation. These 2 planks right here are the activated spots for both spawners. That's gonna mean if I want this spawner to be active, all I need to do is really just generally be in this room anywhere relatively close to it. If I want this spawner to be active, I could be like over here, and this spawner way up there, you literally can't see it from inside of this room, but it's active, trust me. If I want both of them active, I could stand here, or what I was thinking maybe is I could do like a small raised platform that cuts into the wall a little bit right here, and I could almost guarantee for sure that standing in here would make both spawners be active. We'll test that out in a minute though, once we finish up. So now next up, what I'm gonna have to do is go all the way back up to the surface and do it again. I'm gonna need to have a bubble column, cutting all the way back down and up. I guess let's start there. Back up here on the surface, more specifically over at the cookie farm. It's time for a little bit of composting. I'll probably need more bone meal. And with all of that composting check done and out of the way, it's time we move back over to our brand new hole. Which, by the way, I can't decide if we're gonna put a building here or not today, but eventually we'll have a building here, I promise. So that's the dropper, that's how we get down. The way to get back up is gonna be right next to it, right here. Give it a little bit of time and eventually we hit rock bottom. All the way at rock bottom, it's time for not 1, not 2, but 3 fence gates. We'll go ahead and open them all. That'll hold the water in. Double, triple, quadruple check the water's right there. That's checked good. And now it's back up to the surface. One final time. Alright, so back up on the surface here. Check this out. This spot right here is going to have soul sand all the way down to the bottom of it. We're going to activate this bubble column by dropping water right there, then dropping myself down this hole. This always makes me so nervous, but we drop ourselves all the way down here and beat the water by like a million miles. Gotta give it a little bit of time. By the way, when I was running back up to the surface, I found some blocks of coal. That must have been from the last episode. And the resources that I've collected so far today, this is insane. This is crazy. I did not expect that. All from just like setting up a small spider farm. It's crazy. Anyways, it's time for a little bit of kelp. If I plant kelp right there and then... No, not like that. Alright, I think maybe temporarily we'll do that. I should be able to plant kelp right there, then I can plant more kelp on top of it. Or I could just use bone meal and bone meal this thing all the way back up to the surface.
2,000 years later.
Eventually. Hopefully this is gonna work. Oh no. I wonder if it worked. Alright, well now it's a race against the clock as my water slowly drains. We need to swim all the way up to the surface. It looks like the kelp stops just a little bit short. We were so close to making it all the way up, but no. So close, but so far. Like, I don't know exactly how far we were. Is 7 gonna cut it? Oh, what is that, like 5 more? Alright. And here he goes. Here goes nothing. The final kelp. The final kelp. It's good. Jumping back in all the way down one final time. Actually, it's 2 final times. We get to the bottom of this thing. All the way back down to the bottom. We break that out. We place the fence gate right there. And we should have a fully active bubble column. But we can test it out just like this. Jumping into the column. I could breathe the whole time. It feels good. And I'm being rocketed up to the surface. This reminds me that maybe I should build like... I try my hand at a kelp farm or something sooner or later. That could be good. Back down to the bottom of this thing. Let's finish this boy up for today. But first, it's the middle of the night. Let's roll it. Alright. To finish this whole thing up today, we're going to need a combination of some interesting blocks. We're going to start things off with a couple staircases. Any type of staircase will work. We're also going to need some chests. We're also, because we have a double spider spawner setup, gonna need 2 hoppers. If I was doing just 1 cave spider spawner, then I would need just 1. Swinging over to one of our 2 spider farms. Inside of it, we have this one dry spot right here. We're gonna go ahead and break that out finally and place a hopper going into the block in front of it. On top of that, to stop experience from getting trapped, we'll place a carpet. I don't think that'll cause any problems. Now after that, on the other side of the farm, like the part of the farm where I stand and use this thing, we're gonna go chest to chest. We'll have a double chest linked up like that. So we can open it in the future, we'll place a staircase right there. Now over here on this side and over here on this side, to make sure I can actually get experience long term from this thing, we'll place some staircases with small windows. The small window will let experience flow through and over to me. Next up, for design and aesthetic purposes only, giant logs turned sideways like that, but not only sideways, but stripped too. I was thinking red because, you know, spiders. It's a nice, I don't know, like, it just matches. It makes sense. Catching things up over here on the other side, on this farm, we're gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing. And this redstone in the lapis is mine. Now I care deeply and passionately about the aesthetics of this farm that I can see. The aesthetics that I can see. So to maybe finish this up and make sure it all looks good from the outside, I'll go ahead and put a little bit of dark oak. I think it accents the spruce like pretty much perfect. For aesthetic purposes, exactly the same thing. We do the staircase right there, that turned right there so we can get the experience, and then the logs, oh, that's gonna look so good. Then we go ahead and chop those out. Now next up, I'm gonna switch things up a little bit, and because I have so much of it, I think I'm gonna take iron trap doors. I'm gonna need 5 iron trap doors for each side. That's gonna be 10 total. We're gonna place iron trap doors on top of all those blocks that we just set up like that. Swinging back into this farm right here, we'll start things off by lowering the ceiling. We want it 2 blocks tall, just like that. Thinking about it all a little bit more now, I guess, now that I think about it, I will be able to see into this room a little bit, so I suppose these walls could all be cobblestone. That might look nice, like a smarter room. After that, let's say I went ahead and decided to leave this gap open like this. Well, if I left it open like this, they would climb the side and then climb straight out to me. That would be bad. What I'm going to go ahead and do is open this up by removing that row of blocks. Then right here, like diagonally behind where those trap doors are, we're going to need to do a row of slabs all the way. Then we're going to have to fill all of this in solidly like that. With that setup configured just like that, spiders will never be able to get outside of this farm. However, it's still light inside of it, so gonna have to break that out and get back in. Alright, so look, listen, this is the race against the clock. As I begin to remove torches inside of this room, not only is it gonna go dark inside of here, and that'll be great, but as it begins to grow a little bit dark inside of this room, spiders will be able to spawn. And the final torch, go ahead and pull that out and look at that. I told you. No, you get away from me, get away from me. You're bad, you're really, really bad. I don't like you. This is wide open right now, and you see, they're pouring into the room. I have a slight problem. If I go ahead and remove you and fill these blocks back in carefully. No, get out of here. If I go ahead and try and fill those blocks in back properly, though, now we're golden. Spiders will never get out of that farm. However, and this part is a little bit awkward, but when I finish this farm up, I finish it, and it's really nice and all. But also, these slabs right here, to make sure I can always hit the spiders, they need to be slabs the entire way in this little chamber. No, leave me alone. The poison damage is just insane. Like, so annoying. Leave me alone. Alright, now I won't make that mistake again. There we go. Fully slabbed up, fully finished, and fully dark chamber inside of this thing. Now, anytime I want to take out spiders and maybe, like, get straight quickly and easily, it should be thrown to that hopper for me. Now, unfortunately, the sad thing about this is the spiders aren't really brought down to one hit or nothing like that. The way around that is going to be a good, solid Bane of Arthropods sword. If I take the time and get myself one of those things, which is something I will definitely do a little bit later on. Oh boy, this one is not going to be fun. This isn't going to be fun at all. We got to slowly take out all of these, and they're so high up. I didn't think about that, did I? Anyways, Bane of Arthropods. If I take a little bit of time and get myself... Oh, no. If I take a little bit of time and get myself some Bane of Arthropods on my sword, maybe Sweeping Edge, Mending as well, then I'll have a really, really good machine for taking out spiders. Alright, so quickly, we go ahead and make our way out of this farm and place the slabs, and it's check done, it's good. Now I myself here have a sneaking, scary suspicion. I knew it, that the carpet is stopping it. No, to fix it, I guess I could have had hoppers on either side, or I suppose just pull that out. Ah, man. I guess no carpet after all. Hi, and so now, we are left with this room. This is definitely one of the rooms of all time, isn't it? We need to finish this thing up and make it look a little bit better. Give me a little bit of time and let's see what I can crack up. 3, 2, 1, let's do this. Now, while I try and do it, I like to take a look at today's comment of the day because it's a really good question. I like me a good question. They're always fun. This question's all about raids, and why don't I ever do them? So the thing to me with the raid is it kind of takes a little bit of time, and I really like the raid, and the concept of it is really, really fun. At some point, eventually, we're going to take them on and hopefully even build a really cool raid farm inside of this world as well. But I don't really like to do them like around my base or in a non-controlled environment because... well, accidents happen, and let's face it, if you didn't tell by maybe earlier in this episode, some of the other episodes, I'm at least mildly accident-prone. So, yeah, I love me a good raid, but I have to always take a raid on in a controlled environment. So, that's like basically the answer. Thank you so much for the question, genuinely. Keep them coming, please. They're always so fun. And so, besties, in the cold, pouring rain, we've done it. It's so wet outside, it's so cold, I think we might as well, like, I don't know, move indoors or something, especially with such a bad storm. So the spider spawner, for today, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like this on the surface. I promise, I guarantee we're gonna come back and build a build on top of it soon. Who knows, maybe even by the very end of Operation Hollow. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I have a really, really cool idea. But anyways, the inside. Let's go ahead and move inside. So we jump into this chute, we fall 100 blocks, and then, all of a sudden, we see a little bit of granite. Granite, I stand by it. It's a beautiful looking building block. You can tell it's beautiful because, well, not to flex too much, but Whew. I feel like I was cooking with this build. I feel like I was cooking, and cooking well. So this super giant mega cave spider spawner, this thing is working, and it is working so well. I've been loaded up with spiders. I actually accidentally let some spiders out of this thing too. For a little while, I was using the axe to actually take out the spiders. It's not a bad idea. It seems to kind of like mow these things down relatively slowly, but relatively smoothly as well. It's kind of nice. Also, it's got mending. One sad and tragic thing I kind of forgot about cave spider spawners is how picky they can be. If I jump up here, sometimes I'll be able to collect a little bit more experience, and even some drops too. I could totally come back in and add a couple more hoppers to pick up more drops though. For the top of this room, I knew from the start, I had this cool idea to take the cobwebs from the mine shaft and like go crazy up there. I really wanted to fill them in and make it feel like, you know, ancient and old, like this is an old dungeon. I came in with the red accents all over the place. They accentuate the spider's curve. And by curves, I mean 8 eyeballs. Over here, I talked about it while I was building earlier on, but I said maybe I'll build an AFK spot. This is exactly what that is. We got a small little room off to the side where if I stand here or on top of the crafting table, both spawners are 100% active. There's gonna spawn spiders over here, it'll spawn spiders over here. Then when I'm ready to use it, I move down here, and while I'm taking these spiders out, this spawner back there is still active, so it'll spawn more. Same thing with this spawner over here. While I'm using this one and taking the spiders out, it's active. On a back wall over here, I went a little crazy with the detailing, just got some small chests, maybe like extra storage, stuff like that, and speaking of string, yeah, spider eye string. I think we're just about set for life, lads. We're just about set for life. We did it. Double spider spawner. Complete with the bed too. And so, what do you think about the build? Do you like it? Do you not like it? You let me know down below. Only if you like it. The next part of Operation Hollow is going to send us off to a far and distant land for a beautiful farm that is maybe Minecraft's best farm. Or almost. So definitely smash a like if you liked the episode and subscribe for that episode. That should be coming very, very soon. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been me, Waddles, Double Cave Spider Spawner, forever. That's how it's done. Goodbye, everyone.